Hello guys, Assalamualaikum, welcome back. I was having a conversation with Dr. Annie right now, my today's guest, but I lost her completely and my Instagram just crashed on me. So I am back. Hopefully everything stays alright and I don't crash again. I don't know what just happened. It just went off. So we are back and we were having a conversation about narcissistic games. Dr. Annie is a therapist, she is a coach, and she is a author of many books. Uh, I lost her completely. She was breaking up. Guys, before I bring her on, please, when I'm having a conversation, please let us know in the comment section whoever is freezing. So if it's a problem at my end, I could check my internet, or if it's a problem at her end, she could check her internet so that this doesn't happen. Uh, Let me just send her the request and bring her back. So we're talking about narcissistic games. Comment below and let me know how many of you know about narcissistic people and the games that they play with individuals. I am just waiting for her to come back. Yes, that is right. I totally agree with you on that. Just send her the request. If I'm breaking up, if she's breaking up, please let us know in the comment sections, guys. It just kind of helps us better to know. I think she was breaking up a lot, for me at least, but I don't know if the viewers could hear her or was she breaking up for the viewers as well. So I have sent her the request and we are reconnecting. Guys, let's just talk a little about narcissistic games. They play a lot of mind games, guys. They like Dr. Annie said, from their start, it's not a normal relationship, right? They start on with their games. So it's not a normal healthy relationship as for a normal person they would think. And the reason you cannot see that is because of really the games. They are so smart. Their emotional intelligence on reading you, I think, is super sharp. That's why they can read that, oh, she's an empath, she is going to give me the supply I need. That is why they want to grab onto you. That's why one of the things they do is love bombing, and then they do gaslighting, and then they do the silent treatment, the ghosting, and on top of all that, they like to play the victim role. They want to project themselves as they are the victims. So then your head is all confused, like, what's going on here? My personal belief is that narcissistic people have literally no empathy in them. That is why they carry on doing what they're doing, and they do not take accountability for what they're doing. They think in their head, they really think that what they're doing is absolutely the right thing to do. There is nothing wrong with what they're doing. A narcissistic person can be well, it just depends. You see, if she's not in, if you see, somebody who has a narcissistic personality disorder has to be diagnosed. Let's get that clear. They have to be diagnosed. The thing is that they don't go to be diagnosed, so we really don't know, right? So for me, I never say that they have the narcissistic personality disorder. I always say some people have the narcissistic traits. Some people have a lot of them, and some people probably none, right? So if they have the narcissistic traits, they can have empathy, but that empathy is only going to be very limited, more towards themselves when they're playing the victim role, very little towards you, only because they need you in their life for some reason, right? That's where the game playing comes. That's where your head is spinning and you live in confusion that, oh, they do maybe love me, right? maybe they do love me, and that's how they play that game. So I don't think so that they really do have that much empathy. They only have empathy towards themselves. And I don't know what happened. Where is Dr. Envy? Let me send her the request again. I think she was breaking up a lot. Yes, basically narcissistic levels. It just depends on what level they are, the severity of because everybody's narcissistic, you know, in a healthy level. So it just really depends. And I think that culture has played such a massive role. Social media has played such a massive role in really brainstorming us into narcissism and narcissistic behaviors, and we just thinking that this is normal and accepting it. Oh, she is back. Dr. Annie is back in the house. Let's bring her in. Okay, let me send her the request. There we go. I am just connecting with her. Hopefully this time we do connect and it doesn't break. Just give us a few seconds, guys. Sometimes it just takes a little bit time. Dr. Annie, if you are using a laptop or a desktop, it doesn't really work. So if you're using that, maybe you won't be able to connect. So please just use your phone. I'm here. Yes, I'm sending you the request. Just wanted to make sure that you're not using a laptop or a desktop, because it just somehow never works. Maybe because of different Instagram versions at different countries. So it just never works. So if you're using a desktop or a laptop, could you just switch to a phone? Because I sent you the request. I don't know if you are getting the request or not. Let me send a request again and see if the request is going.
I am here. Hi.
Hi. Are you logging on from your cell phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
It's been a nightmare, basically.
Dr. Lee, before you came in, I was talking about the narcissistic games and stuff, and somebody asked a really good question. And I just want you to talk about that as well. They were asking me that narcissistic, how do you know about the narcissistic levels? I've just said on that, you know, for somebody to have the narcissistic personality disorder, you would need a proper therapist or coach to really diagnose that. Normal people cannot do that, but we can find a lot of people having narcissistic traits, and they could be really severe in them. So I just wanted to shed some light on that, and then we can continue with our topic.
Yeah. It's one of those things that kind of puzzles me, because in the end, for the lay person, it is ultimately irrelevant. That's all about, I don't trust my own perceptions, therefore I've got to fall back on a clinical definition. I don't feel I can trust myself to make a valid judgment. But actually, if you find that someone is behaving in ways that fit your concept of narcissistic, in that they're selfish, rejecting, cold, grandiose, uncaring, deceitful, I that's a good baseline. I think that's good enough. You don't have to get a degree in psychology in order to know that this person is quite narcissistic enough not to be around.
That is correct. I totally agree with you. I think that uh, that when you are in a healthy relationship, you'll feel the flow of it go naturally. Just the way you
Yeah.
and I'm having a healthy conversation is going with the flow, right?
Mm.
With narcissistic people, you do pick on very quickly that they are just really full of themselves. All they want to do is really talk about themselves and selves. And when you try to have a conversation, change the subject, talk about something else or yourself, they actually just go around it and just bring it back to themselves. So that is really one of a really good sign to see, okay, this where is this conversation going? Because healthy conversations will evolve. It will involve both sides giving their opinions.
Yes.
So and I think you said it absolutely beautifully that uh, you don't have to sit and be confused and worried about, okay, I cannot diagnose this person now, so maybe this person is not narcissistic now, so I have to live on with it because I have to get a proper diagnosis for it. But to actually see that, okay, something is really wrong here. In normal healthy relationships, I won't feel this way. I won't feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I won't be isolated, and I won't be, all the time in confusion that what's going on. That's not what happens in healthy normal relationships.
Yeah.
So I think that you said it really beautifully, that if you feel that something is off and you're struggling emotionally, where you're feeling that your emotions are getting drained because you are not getting validation and your emotions are not getting processed, I think that is a big red sign.
And I think we all know it, and I think we all know it from early on. And when you start going, is it me? Is it him? What's going on? How do I make sense of this? Am I really being selfish? Am I really this? Is it really? You don't have all that second guessing in a healthy relationship. It's just that your whole world is being subtly twisted out of all recognition. And you do know that.
Yes.
You really
We're having
do.
so many questions coming in, guys. I want you to hold on to your questions. We just let Dr. Annie talk a little bit, and then she will definitely jump on and answer your questions quickly. Dr. Annie, some of them, I call them the mind games. These narcissistic people plays. I think my understanding is that these people are very, like, their emotional intelligence is very strong, because the minute they meet you, they understand that, okay, this is the person who's going to give me the supply I need, and they know how to play around it, like with the love bombing and one of the narcissistic games. I want you to shed some light on the earlier stages about love bombing.
Yes. Well, yeah, I shall. I think I would pick up a distinction, which is they're cunning. Then, you say they have emotional intelligence. I don't actually think they do. What they do have is a very, very high level of awareness and knowing how to play us. Because we're not very bright emotionally. If someone says, I love you, I want to be with you forever, you go, oh, wow! You don't go, is there something a bit wrong about the way this guy has said it? Is there something a little bit creepy about the fact that he wants to be with me all the time, that we've only known each other 5 minutes? You go, oh, wow, it's love. So, in a sense, we're not using our intelligence when we get caught up in our feelings. So I suspect that from their perspective, and they come along, here I am, the puppet master. It's quite easy to play us. If they know us, they can play us.
It's really interesting how you said it, Dr. Eddie, because you see, I think that the empath over here also suffers from low self-esteem.
Oh, yes.
And the narcissist already has a low self-esteem. It's just the appearance from outwardly where they show that this we're so charming and we're this amazing person with very high esteem, but actually their esteem is more shattered. And I think for empaths, they suffer from low esteem because they're not aware. I think they lack the sense of awareness and self-worth about themselves.
And yeah, and they were not exactly brought up to have a high sense of their own worth. Yeah,
Yes.
there is this very interesting thing. And the narcissist is always looking for someone he can settle, he or she can organize to slot into position below him, you know. So look at me, I've got this partner and who is a total waste of time. That makes me a wonderful superior being. So their sense of low self-worth is completely masked, if you like. They don't feel it, they're not troubled by it. We empaths, we come from the place of everybody's at least as equal as I am, probably more so. I was speaking with a couple of women yesterday, a couple of clients who were very high achieving, phenomenal. And one of them definitely, she doesn't take any nonsense in the workplace. And yet when they go back into their private life, they have to believe the best of people, even bad people. And that makes them incredibly vulnerable. And that's us, you know, that's empaths, a lot of us. Yet there is good in everyone. Yes, he's shown me that he can be a complete pig, but I know that there is good in everyone. What about actually knowing that sometimes, even if there is good, it ain't worth your while to go looking for it? You know, sometimes you just have to accept that people are as they show you that they are when they're doing their worst.
I love the way you said that. It's so important to actually take people for the way they are instead of making these self-assumptions in our head. No, maybe they're not that bad. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe something, because we want to hold on to them. And we just make these stories in our heads that no. So like you said earlier as well, it's so important to listen to our intuition. And I think I've spoken to many clients, and this has always been their feedback is we knew something was off. But we're like, no, maybe we're being paranoid. No, it's nothing. We're just being silly. So we all want to kill that inner voice because no, let's see how it goes. Dr. Nee, it's really interesting. I think I was talking about this earlier. I think culture plays such a big role in this. I think coming from my culture especially, I've seen that, you know, I see women and I see that they're living this life and they think they're wrong, right? Is because we were trained from a very young age believing that marriage is not easy. You have to compromise. And women compromise, and if women don't compromise, they're the bad ones. So when you brought up in that conditioning, you just start to believe you are the problem if you don't compromise, right? And I think that's why women don't raise their voice, because they think that and I've seen women right now, they come to me and they say that this man does this to me, but if I go back, nobody's going to accept me, nobody's going to validate me because of the cultural issues. So I think there's just not, while we suffer from low self-esteem in childhood, it's just the way the cultural norms are set for you, and you have to raise that, you have to live on to that standard actually.
Yeah, I don't think it's easy for anyone, but I think that in a culture like yours, it's an awful lot harder. I was actually working with a Muslim client recently, and she was saying that in reality, the Muslim faith does not suggest that women should be put down. But the way it plays out in a lot of societies is there is this whole inferiority thing, and a woman without a man is a disaster, which makes it incredibly hard when you're not actually just fighting your own battles, but you're fighting big cultural and societal battles too.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. I've seen women. See, we were talking about the emotions. You are not from a very young age allowed to process your emotions, right? Like you said, you cannot talk in a certain way. You cannot dress in a certain way. You are brainwashed that you need a man in your life. Otherwise, you're incapable. You cannot survive in this world. And as far as faith is concerned, it's mind-boggling, because I was myself, I can tell you, I believed myself that a man can do whatever he wishes for to do to his wife, according to Islam, because God has permitted him. And it was not until my very, very later years that I realized that God is actually against women being oppressed, and that's talked about multiple times in the Quran. But anyway, that's a different story altogether. Let's come back to the narcissistic mind games. Dr. D, could you shed some light? I think a few of the games that I can think on top of my head right now is love bombing, the silent treatment, gaslighting, especially playing the victim role. I just wanted to talk a little on all of these, and if you have more, please do so.
Well, one of my favorites is sleep deprivation. That one doesn't get a whole lot of exposure, but that is a great game that the narcissist plays, that they wait till you're going to sleep or asleep, and then they pick a fight with you. And that's brilliant. That is torture. I mean, that's what they do in jails with people, that they deprive them of sleep. And narcissists do that on a regular basis. I mean, I can't speak for all narcissists, but certainly I've heard it from others. And my own was quite expert in that. Bless him. He used to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, literally. And I just didn't clock this. So I'd crawl into bed at midnight and think, oh, by then he must be sort of deep sleep. He'll leave me alone. No, he'd had 4 hours. Wake up, attack. Just as my breathing changed and I was dropping off. And that a lot of them do. That's not very nice. Then another of the games that the narcissists...
And why do you think they do that? Why do you think they pick on right when you're about to sleep? Because that's really interesting, because I've had a couple of clients myself reach out to me and ask me the same question, that why are they picking on me the minute either they're both fallen asleep and at midnight they'll just shake them and wake them and start fighting, and they're like in confusion, like what happened? We fell asleep perfectly fine, and like you said, when you crawled in and he would wake you up and start the fighting. Why do you think that they chose that specific time?
Because
just to annoy you.
Well, because they get something out of it. It's always power and control. It's a great way to break you, to remind you of their power, ultimately. And the longer you're with them, the more toxic the power game gets. It becomes, after a while, they get really bored with you. So on the one hand, they're pushing you away and just trying to work out, how far can I push this person before they finally crack? And on the other, there's this part of them that goes, yeah, I want them gone. But on the other hand, if they go, I have to replace them, and I've trained this person in my ways quite well. So do I really want to start going through the hassle, and there might be some money to pay an inconvenience with a divorce. So let's hold on to them. So it's this incredible push and pull all the time. And it can happen in the space of hours or minutes even. The client who's only been, she's probably been married 7 or 8 years, and her husband was helping her. prepare the dinner. That is, he bothered to peel a few potatoes. And he said to her, I love you. And she went, what? Because he hadn't said anything like that in a while. But she went, oh, he loves me. It's all right. And she went to bed a couple of hours later, fell asleep. He barges in, turns on the television, which he's carefully set so that it's always at full volume. And all of this in the space of a couple of hours. Why? Because he's a little bit concerned that she might pull out on him, and part of him really wants her gone, but the other part knows that financially he needs her income. So he plays these crazy games. And what else can that be but a narcissistic game? So that's quite a shocker, but a goodie. And well,
thank you so much for sharing that, because I've also had a couple of clients talk about this with me, and it's so nice to have that conversation for a lot of viewers. What would you did say it at the beginning that they do that to remind you that they are in control, and you know, I want you to talk about more about why they want to be in control and what are the ways in which they play their games to control you.
Well, I think, to put it quite simply, narcissists love power. They love power, and they seem to be pretty fond of money too, particularly your money. But power is essential for them. If you like, we empaths, we run on love, we run on good feelings, yeah? And narcissists seem to thrive on toxic feelings. I'm always amazed at how long and how healthy narcissists can be when they're being vile, when they're spewing venom all the time. It works for them. It's a kind of crazy mind shift. They seem to love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Dr. Annie, you think, because you know, as empaths or as just normal people as well, when we hurt somebody, you know, we're humans. You can have a disagreement or something. When we have a hot argument with somebody, we do feel bad, right? Normally, we do feel bad, and it's like that feeling is like that guilt feeling stays with us till we actually communicate and get things clear off. I think with people who are narcissistic, don't really see that they are really emotionally killing somebody every day and feel bad about it when they're alone. They're just so blinded by just getting their supply and what they want, and that is what matters, that I think they actually don't see that the harm they're causing, or they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, I think that's a slightly candy-coated explanation of it. I think that they feel that they are justified in what they do. You know, that they can do whatever they want to do to hurt you. They find that your emotions are both gratifying and a bit of a bore. That, you know, if they can get you to cry, that's a win. If you're moping around the place, sort of devastated, whinging, they assume that you are faking your emotions because they fake theirs. And they also don't care. It's boring. So what? You know, if you're that weak and you're hurting that much, so what? But you're probably faking it anyway. It's a completely different mindset. And that fits in with another narcissistic game, which is the absolute gem. When you finally tell them that you're leaving or whatever, and as I did with mine, and this man who had been pushing me away for years and years suddenly turned on the tears. And they're very, very good, literally, at turning on the tears as and when they want. And they come out with the I love you, darling. I was terribly wrong. I'm going to be a different person this time around. I'm going to be so good. And it's all formulaic. It's a script. It really is. it's none of it's true, none of it's deep. It's just stuff that comes on, but they come out with the right noises at the right time. And because they can turn their signs of emotions on and off, they think we can. But you know, I think in the end there's this very, very strange half-life that narcissists live in, where they entertain all sorts of comfortable lies, like, oh, she must be faking it, it's not hurting her that much, she's weak, doesn't matter anyway, she hurt me more. When she said that, it really hurt me. As in, when she forgot to put the potatoes on the plate for my dinner, that was such an outrage that it justified a 2-hour tongue lashing. You know.
Yes, yes. They know exactly what kind of words to play with you to make you feel bad about it and make you feel the crazy person. I think their brain wiring is really off. That's why. Dr. Annie, could you talk a little about gaslighting and the silent treatment, please?
The silent treatment, I reckon I could write a PhD about. That was one of my ex-husband's favorites. And the first time he did it, I knew it had to be some kind of game. I knew it had to be some kind of game because he seemed to understand the rules of this. And there were rules, I sensed it, but I was just totally out of my depth. And it is a really powerful way. People get tired of it in the end, but when it starts, it's a really powerful way of like sending you to your room and making you think about your bad behavior. It's a fantastic punishment. I am not telling you what you did wrong, but you must have done something really wicked for me to withdraw my love from you. And I want you to sit there and work it out. And my own particular lovebird, I'd go to him and say, what's wrong? He'd go, nothing. And there's this huge subtext that I saw drifting across the rooms that said it was very, very big and bad indeed. So they're really playing you because they know that you have this tendency to feel guilty and take responsibility for stuff, and they don't talk to you, so you've got plenty of time to think about, what have I done? How bad could it have been? Is he going to abandon me forever? Because they know we've got abandonment issues. Pardon me. And I know I keep saying he, and narcissism is not just one gender. Yes, but so apologies, this is just
going with the flow here. We're just going with the flow. Yes, we speak. Yeah.
So they are really activating all the different pain points that they know you have. And I think they quite like the silence too. So my ex-husband at one point admitted to me that he hated having to be nice.
Oh my goodness, really? Wow.
Yeah, having to be nice means making an effort. It means faking it, essentially. So 3 days off while he didn't speak to me, when he could think his venomous thoughts and go around looking like a really unpleasant little person, that worked for him. 3 days off when he was punishing me without even having to raise a finger, and he was getting the peace and quiet. That was a total win from his point of view. Then when he got tired, he would come back, and then he'd really trying to express,
they just act normal, right? They just act all like a normal, like nothing ever happened.
No. He didn't do that much. That's a goodie, because that's a fantastic piece of gaslighting. Oh, darling, nice to see you.
That's what happened to me.
Right.
That happened to me. I got the silent treatment. For me, it was one day, nothing. Everything was fine a few hours ago or day before.
Yeah.
Their button is off, and I'm like, I was so scared to even ask what I've done this time, that I would be so anxious. I could feel my heart rate going up, that I was just ignoring, just carry on what I was doing or try to keep a normal conversation. But I could see that, okay, something is coming. And there it is. They would just barge out of the lounge, barge out wherever
Yes.
we're sitting, go in the room, slam the door, lock the door, leave us out. My things are in the room. And you're just walking here and there, like, what did I do? What did I say? And that was my pattern for years. What did I do? What is wrong with me? That's what I always said. I would pull my hair, sit on the ground in my room and cry tears and tears, asking God, what is wrong with me? What did I do this time? Why am I so stupid? Why don't I understand him? We've been married for so long. And 1 week, 10 days, 3 days, whatever. We live in the same place, right? So we bump into each other and they're absolutely fine. Hello, what's for dinner? What's for snack? And you're just like, okay, are we talking? Are we on terms? So you never actually come to the point where you could actually ask them, hey, what happened to you 3 days ago or 7 days ago? What did I do? They just snap in, everything's okay, let's start. And God forbid, if you want to have the conversation, like, hey, did I do something? They say, don't start again. You want to start again? You want me not to talk to you? And you're like, okay, I want to keep the peace. So let's just carry on. It took a lot of many years to understand that this is not normal. You would communicate and tell that, okay, you pissed me off by doing this. That you're not telling me, like, like you said, that the potatoes were missing from the plate. Now you're communicating at least and telling something. From when you're not communicating, there is nothing wrong. Actually, you're just trying to make the person stay confused. And like you said, we do feel guilty all the time. We want everybody to be happy around us and everything to go normally, and that's what they don't like. They have to get their supply all the time. They have to keep on pressing the button to let you know, I am in control and I will always stay in control.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that we happy people, ideally happy, empathic people forget is that happiness squeezes the place that a narcissist has in the conversation and in the life that you have, in the relationship. Happiness actually takes him out of the limelight. So, that's why another great narcissistic game is spoil the special occasion.
Yes, I knew that was coming. Yes.
Yes.
Because they do that all the time.
Yeah, because a special occasion is about everyone. It's about inclusivity. Inclusivity, by definition, edges the narcissist out of center stage. So what can the narcissist do except make you pay a heavy price for it?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're back now. I lost your voice for a second.
Yeah, so that's another great game. My ex-husband used to finish the silent treatment with a firework display. He got very, very cross. He vented his 3 days of venom. Oops, are we still there? Yeah.
Yes, you're there. Yes.
Yes, but essentially everything is a game. And then there's the sort of, sometimes mine used to go into passive aggressive. I'll do whatever you want, which actually didn't mean I'll do whatever you want. It meant this is a test. You do exactly what I say or you'll be punished for it. However, I'm looking really good about this one because I'm pretending to be selfless.
Absolutely. Dr. Anita, this is really interesting when you said it, because one of the things I do make my clients do, and I want you to shed some light on, is that when a client comes on, or when a person who's broken and they're trying to figure out what happened to them, and they just in the early stages of understanding that they were in a narcissistic abusive relationship, their thing is they ask me questions, but we had good times, they were those moments, and I tell them, could you like tell me some of the moments? So here's the moment, and one of the things I do make them see in those moments on this conversation is that those good moments are only good moments because you're doing exactly what the narcissist wants. So that's why you get to build those good moments. Mostly when somebody tells a story, it is, we had that few months of a great time where everything was so good. He was so nice to me. He was loving me. Hold on a second. That's great. But let's talk about how were you doing in those moments? You were doing exactly as he was asking you to do. So that is the whole point. If you keep on doing exactly how they want you to play, where you're just being submissive, right? You can sleep now. Okay, let's sleep now. You can wake up now. Yes. You can have the breakfast now. You cannot have the breakfast now. You can have this dinner now. So if you're doing all that, then you're not giving them the opportunity to really find something, but you're just being absolutely submissive towards them. And that is where I think a lot of people think that those were um, the happy moments.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of denial going on there.
Yes.
And I'm always interested in, I sometimes ask now, sort of, so what percentage of those times that you're with him were the good times, you know?
Right, yes.
Tends
Yes,
to be pretty low.
Yes.
Yeah. But they will do what they want to give themselves the experience they want.
Right. I know that you had another call, Dr. Nee. One more question, and then we'll try to get a few questions and wrap it up. I want you to really shed some light on the fact that how they like to play the victim role.
Yes. Well, my mother used to say about my father that when normal people had a cold, he acted like he had pneumonia. Anything that affects them is magnified 1,000 times. So, you know, if something happens to them, if say you did something that distracted them and caused them to break a fingernail if they cared about their fingernails, that would be a tragedy. However, if you sort of walked in with a broken leg and, you know, not in a good state, and you couldn't make a meal for them, that would be an inconvenience. So anything that happens to them, and in any way, is a tragedy. Anything that affects them is huge, shouldn't happen, and is outrageous. Anything that happens to you is inconsequential. They always have a better victim story than you. So I've heard so many women say to me, yes, but he had a tough childhood. And I've looked at them and said, and what about your childhood? You know, you were brought up by an alcoholic mother, your father left, you never saw him, you had to struggle for everything in the world, you've got this, that, and the other, and you tell me he had a hard childhood? And how will you punish him because your childhood wasn't easy? But we empaths just get so sucked into feeling sorry for somebody else, you know. God, yes, he had it hard. But they really can create a heroic victim story about anything. My ex, in his first job, he was so vile that everybody hated him. He told me that as his heroic victim story, in which I stood up for what was right. I blazed a trail, and everybody resented it because I was so much braver than they were, and I spoke out. But everything can feed into this victim story one way or another.
Yes,
the world hates me.
Yeah. Yes, mine is similar like that. I heard so many childhood memories, bad ones. I actually went out and started crying, and I'm saying, I literally held his hand and said, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. No child deserves that, and I will make sure to love you so much that I can fill that void for you. That's actually what I said.
Me too.
And later on, I was like, I don't deserve this, right? Why am I doing that? there was nothing that I was doing was enough. And
Yeah.
you come to a point is that you're like, okay, this is enough, because if I'm going to lose my sanity in this if I keep on going in this. Dr. News, I think that, I mean, I could speak for myself also as well, is that I think that what happens with empaths as well is that they also get stuck playing the victim role. That is why the relationship kind of like lost. Because for me, like, for example, I can talk for myself why I would say that. I think that I stayed too long because I thought I was not enough. So I was living in that mindset that, you know, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. I suffered with low self-esteem. Nobody's going to take me. I'm not going to be good enough for anybody. And of course, they make you believe that you're a burden. Nobody's going to take you. You're all that stuff. So for me, my awakening was to actually realize my own worth. And it was not defined by anybody but myself. And I had to break that cycle of living in that victim mindset and own myself, and then come forward. Whether being a creator, a thriver, a liver. What would you say on that? Don't you think that we also sometimes get caught and have that victim mindset sometimes?
I really don't like that term and victim mindset, because I think it kind of diminishes us. The truth is that we have been victimized. That's totally true.
Right.
And we are always struggling to survive in a toxic relationship. So I don't like the victim mindset thing. And I think you also have to take into account how much we have been programmed to believe in our own incompetence and worthlessness. And when you are constantly being programmed by someone who is very good at mind games, it is incredibly difficult to withstand it. It's that old thing of, you know, you put the lobster in the pot when the pot is cold, you raise the temperature slowly, the lobster goes, oh, it's nice, it's a bit warm in here, yeah, I can relax, you know. And then the lobster, by the time the lobster realizes it's getting hot, the lobster is kind of, you know, very, very challenged to respond. So I think, I think that I don't like the words victim mindset, because I find that's disempowering. And the astonishing feat that anybody who has ever been abused has achieved is that we have come from being totally disempowered to finding a way through. That's
Absolutely.
Impressive.
Yes,
That is
yes,
really impressive. Yeah.
I did put a question on the screen, and somebody right when we started asked a question. I just remember because she messaged twice. She wanted to talk about the new supply. You could talk about that, and we can answer one of the questions on the posted right now.
Yes. I kind of despair of the new supply, because the new supply is not really that important in the end. The new supply tells you two things. It tells you that they've gone after the next bright, shiny new object, that they got bored, that it got dull, because they're not people who love, they're people who acquire stuff. And you are an object. They, you know, you change your car in the end, you change your partner. That's the kind of thing they do. It's no big deal for them. It's just an upgraded, it's just a new model. It may not be an upgrade, fine. So that's one side of the new supply. The other side of the new supply, which is really important, is the narrative that you tell yourself about the new supply. Oh, if it works, that means that it was my fault.
Right.
You know, it's because I'm worthless. Look at the new supply. She's younger, she's thinner, she's older, she's fatter, whatever. What does that say about me? So it's always looking at the new supply and saying, it proves I'm a failure. And it doesn't. It actually, the fact that the person's got a new supply means that they've managed to fool another person into taking them on. Will they be better with a new supply? No, not really. They may be marginally better if the new supply's got something that they really want, like status or very full purse, but they don't change essentially. They'll still be horrible, empty scumbags, basically.
Right, right.
So the new supply is really not such a big deal. The new supply is kind of your blessing. If it keeps them away from you, that's a big plus.
That's what I say. If they can stay away from you, that's a blessing for you, because I think you've gone through enough. You don't need any more torture.
Yes. And the other piece of the new supply, which is really important, is the mind game. A lot of them go off, get their new supply, and especially if there are kids involved, they get the kids to say how happy daddy is with mummy or whatever, and how wonderful things are, and how they're taking us for this amazing holiday or doing this whatever thing with them. And it's to say, I'm doing better than I did with you. And, you know, for me, if someone is happy with someone, they don't have to send fingers up to you, mate messages to their ex. The fact that a narcissist continues to play spiteful games when they've got a new partner tells you that they are not happy. They are just the same nasty, venomous people they always were, but they're not full-time in your life anymore, and therefore you want them out of your head.
Absolutely. I just want to add on to this that, guys, any of you who are too focused on the new supply, please do not get distracted. Focus on yourself. Don't forget the pain you've been through, and don't try to invalidate it by keeping your getting too much focused on the new supply. What you've been through has been a lot, and you need to process that and understand that, like Dr. Annie says, they're nasty, they're never going to change, and nothing about them is ever going to change. There's another question, and guys, this is going to be my wrap-up question, because I know Dr. Annie has another appointment, so we'll wrap up on this question. And it says, Dr. Annie, did you read it, or do you want me to read it for you?
What is it? Is that I do want to forget the pain, though? What?
Okay, she says, if the narcissistic child was raised by narcissism parents, is there any way to build empathy in them with, can't read her full question, with communication or trust?
So which narcissistic child are we talking about, an adult or a child?
She says, if the narcissistic child, I mean, that's her question. She just says, if the narcissistic child was raised, I guess the child is an adult now, was raised by narcissism parents, is there any way to build empathy in their communication or trust?
I would think you'd have to set the bar very low indeed. I think if it's not your child, I would be asking, why would you bother? Why would you just make life hard for yourself? It sounds like another version of, can a narcissist change? And the answer is not very much, and not for very long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Desperation. I want to know the truth, what it was, cheating, lies. I think they're just, somebody's having a conversation in the chat box themselves.
Yes, it seems to be.
Yes. Dr. Annie, thank you so much for coming forward and sharing so much with me once again. It's always an honor to have you on my podcast. So much I learned from you. I always am asked again and again to bring her back. That is why I think this is my 4th or 5th podcast with you. The knowledge you share, the way you touch people's lives is truly inspiring. we would like to wrap this up, but I would like you to give a final message for the audience, and then we will say our goodbyes on that.
Okay, so my final message always is there is so much better after a narcissistic relationship. People think, oh, I'm broken, it's over, you know, this is life. No, you have a great life ahead of you. You really do. And the beauty is that narcissists don't change. You can, so that you can use your gifts as your greatest strength, and you can learn how to protect yourself from narcissists in the future.
Thank you so much, guys. I think Dr. Annie said it beautifully, guys. Remember, you are enough, you are worthy, you are lovable, and you are more than you know. If I say, if you have lived the abuse, you can survive through anything. Have faith in yourself, believe in yourself. You are incredible beings. I'm sending you so much love. Take good care of yourself, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye, Dr. Annie.
Goodbye, Mirish. Bye. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.